Hello and welcome to another early access Biomutant guide on mutations and auras. Thanks to THQ Nordic for the early access. I've been having a blast with Biomutant. It is fantastic to play. You can get lost in the world, see what I did there, for a very, very long time in this game, and time will just fly by. Okay, so let's talk about mutations and what they are. Basically, mutations are your magic powers in this game. They're your skill abilities, but they're broken down into two different sections. You've got biogenetics and Psi-Powers, then you've got the self-explanatory upgrade resistance. Biogenetics is independent of light and dark. We're going to talk about light and dark in a minute. Biogenetics are picked up by killing mutated enemies in certain biohazard zones. They're basically like green insecty type enemies, and they drop bioglobules or biopoints as they're called. As you can see, I've got 6 here to use, and you can level up these skills. Now, some skills have decent use in combat, some just look very flashy. For example, Mucus Bubble is hella fun to use. I don't find it that useful though. Mothmouth, however, considering it's one of the early ones, can be super handy in tight situations, allowing you to turn enemies against each other and confuse them. Fungi allows for incredible combos and incredibly fun combinations between melee and your gun skill. And you've also got things like Radwisp, which inflicts radiation upon enemies, Stormhop, which looks very cool, and Mud Punch, which is one I cannot wait to unlock. I haven't unlocked it yet. I can't wait to unlock Mud Punch. It's definitely going to be one that is on the radar. But this is a bunch of skills that can be locked via biopoints. Now, one thing I want to note here is that biohazard areas have a lot of biopoints in them. Therefore, leveling up your biohazard resistance early is really, really important and will help you unlock a lot of these skills early and let you have a lot more fun with Biomutants combat, because initially it takes a while to get into Biomutants combat. The camera angle is a bit wonky, the camera is a bit wonky, and it takes a minute to really get into it and start chaining together all your combos. There's a lot to take in the combat early on, but actually it's not as complicated as it first seems. Okay, let's talk Psi-Powers and light and dark. I'm going to talk about this more in my review, but this game has a very strong moral compass running through it in terms of your dialogue options, in terms of your decisions, in terms of how you handle peace and war, in terms of how you handle general behavior on this planet where, you know, life is coming to an end. And that inflicts a dark and light score on you. Basically, it's just how you've behaved and how your decisions are impacting the world. Different dark and light unlocks different skills, so I think it's going to be important for people to know what dark skills there are and what light skills there are. Now, some of these are available early on. They don't actually have a very high barrier for either. However, as you go further into the game, you'll see dark aura needed 10, but that's a light skill. This is a dark skill. That's a light skill, but I need 30, and that's a dark skill. I'll show you the skills briefly. This is the one I unlocked. This is Blaze. Very fun to use, looks very cool. Blink, which actually impacts, though it's not actually just a blink, it does do damage when it hits the enemy. We've got Freeze, very fun because it makes enemies skate all around the place, so it makes them lose mobility. Sizzle Ball, which is basically a fireball. As you can see, I need dark, and I'm going for a light character. I want to be a good guy, because, you know, I'm a good guy. Levitate, not that useful because you actually, your little pet that runs around with you does give you a glider, so I don't really know how useful that is. Basically, it looks like you're playing Control. Telekinesis looks very fun. Again, looks like you're playing Control, but requires dark. Key Spark, which is basically, looks like it's straight out of Star Wars. And finally, you've got Sky Spark, which does look very cool, but sadly, I'm not going to be going hard dark, but that's like a nuke. A dark bomb nuke. And they are basically the dark and light powers. Upgrade resistance is done through biopoints. Again, I'm going to upgrade my biohazard because I'm actually currently in a biohazard area. That's going to help me out a lot. So that will basically mean that I do not gather any biohazard poison, and I'll be able to get and kill the enemies and level up my skills. Okay, that's basically mutations. Just wanted to show briefly what it is without wasting too much people's time. What are you going to choose? What are you going to go down? What path are you going to go down? Don't be edgelords and go down dark. Join me on the light side. I hope that's useful. I hope that helps you out. We've also got combat guides, perk guides for Biomutant, so feel free to subscribe. They should be on the channel right now. Take care and peace.